Hi, and welcome back to the Hope of Mum and Dad podcast. I'm Becky, and this is
Fuzzlet.
And we are on episode 44. So this podcast, as you know, is all about infertility, IVF, and trying to conceive in general. Episode 44. 2 episodes ago, episode 41, we announced that we are pregnant, finally.
Big news.
Big news. And I just wanted to mention how amazing it's been, all the love and support that we've received since sharing the news socially on the podcast and everything.
Been very, very nice.
So nice.
Lots of kind words.
So many kind words. And we really just appreciate how much people have been cheering us on and rallying around us and just rooting for us, because it really makes a difference. And for lots of people in this community, it can be quite lonely. But
And also, we kind of like had the worst way of... Like, we've been sitting on it for ages because we've got the podcast. Like, most people, they just go, this is me. Like,
it's not just because we got the podcast, it's because of what has happened. So the reason, I'm 23 weeks tomorrow, so...
I thought you can say 23. And the rest.
Yeah, so we're over halfway, so it's a bit unconventional for us to have announced it this late. But the reason for doing that is because there was a delay in us making the episodes to start off with. Then we had that huge scare that we talked about in episode 42.
And a car crash.
And then in episode 43, we fill you in on the car crash that we had. So it's just been one thing after another.
And the fridge broke as well.
Yeah.
That's just as big a deal as the rest of them.
It was for you.
We need to get the fridge in there because we've got a brand new fridge. But when the fridge got delivered, it was smashed up and broken because nothing works. Nothing works.
So it has been a trying time, and we haven't been keeping it a secret from you on purpose.
Our dog's broke. She's actually a kitten, we found out. Thought we had a Springer Spaniel this time. It's a cat.
Yeah. So
everything's faulty.
Everything's faulty.
Tickled
but
you,
we're
that
glad.
Did, didn't it?
Yeah.
Tickled you. Oh my god, you can't recover.
Well, I can recover.
Come on then.
We finally shared our news, and I'm really glad that we have. That's one of our pet names for the dog, Kitten Sticks.
Yeah. Come on, Beck.
So
Put
yeah.
it together. Come on.
Oh, get lost. So we're glad that it's out in the open now, and we can start talking. We can
talk about our kitten sticks.
We can start talking to you about the pregnancy and how it's been going, and just share the news, because we will be sharing about that. And we
come
hope
on, Beck.
you don't
Keep
mind.
it together. Keep it together. Come on.
Keep it together.
I like saying that because then you start laughing and then it's whatever. So Becky's very pregnant. She's she keeps saying, "Do I look pregnant? Do I look pregnant?" And then she's like, "Oh, I look too pregnant. I look too pregnant."
No, I don't. I say I look fat. I don't look pregnant.
No, you look glowing.
That means I look fat.
No.
Yeah.
Your little bump is becoming quite a big bump. Like when I hug you, there's like a beach ball in between us.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's like it. But
I think I've got imposter syndrome, and I keep thinking that I don't feel like I feel pregnant because it goes flat. Anyway, we're super lucky. Super lucky to be pregnant. Super grateful.
But yeah, it's interesting. No, let's talk about that for a little bit. You are very like, ooh, do I look pregnant? Oh, I'm not pregnant enough. I am. And you were like,
I still don't believe it.
And you were looking on your app. You're like, I better get on my app because that's what pregnant people do, and I better make sure that I'm doing the pregnant stuff because you are definitely looking pregnant now.
Yeah, but I'm very much still in denial, and I think that's one of those sad things that infertility does to you.
How can you be in denial? Look at you.
Because I am.
Look at you. You've got a bump you can't see on camera.
Yeah. I mean, I just look like Father Christmas. I just look fat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's us and where we are.
You're enjoying it, aren't you?
Yeah, I've been really
like
fortunate.
being pregnant.
Apart from the scares, I've been really fortunate. I haven't had any horrible symptoms. The baby's been very kind to me. So yeah, I can't complain. Very lucky.
Today's episode, we're going to be talking to
Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're back to our normal format of chatting to other people in this club, and.
But just to be sort of clear, we can't always chat to other people, and today was we need to say thank you again because what a nightmare.
Poor Sarah was just
technical issues. Honestly, like my laptop got broken in the car crash, and we're doing everything off another machine, and like basically if you expect something to work and it should work, it won't. That's our life
in
at
this
the
house.
moment.
Yeah.
Like, so
Yeah.
I was scrambling around like mad, and it was just Becky, because I was there like checking wires and
Holding the
checking
fort,
things. Oh, and
basically.
the internet's broke. We're meant to get a 500 meg
Yeah.
download speed, and we're getting like 8.
Yeah.
So
Yay.
I'm so surprised we managed to get it done.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for something to go wrong. So, but yeah, just to be sort of clear, we're going to try and talk to as many people as we can, but that involves other people actually doing it. So that's the bottleneck in it. So we're going to try and speak to loads of other people, but realistically, it probably will be us some weeks as well.
Yeah. Definitely. And some weeks we'll have more news, so that's good too. So without giving too much away, Sarah is a lovely lady who we've been introduced to through a mutual friend, and really nice to get to know her. She's got an Instagram page where she creates these beautiful keepsakes and sells them and supports a charity, but I won't tell you too much more.
Yeah, but if you are listening or on YouTube on your computer and you want to like have a little look at the socials while you're listening, you can do that. Yeah,
by going to Instagram at Bessie_and_Jessie. We'll link it in the podcast.
We'll probably
notes.
put it on the video, but I'm dyslexic, so I wouldn't trust it. But we'll see. Anyway, without further ado.
Hi, Sarah. Welcome to the Hope Mum and Dad podcast.
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming on and agreeing to talk to us. You have broken our fast because it's been a long time since we've had a guest on the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's lovely to have you. Just to give everybody a bit of context, the reason that I've found you is through a mutual friend, isn't it? So we got introduced through a mutual friend. But I believe you do a lot on Instagram. You've got a shop and obviously experience in general in the trying to conceive infertility community. So can you just tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I was quite poorly last year following some IVF, and I didn't sort of reach out to many people in the normal real world, and I thought I'd set up a Instagram page and just try and befriend people within the community. So I've got a little infertility Instagram page where I reach out and people reach out to me, and although it's not a particularly nice club to be in, they do have the best and most loving supporters and people in the group. And through that, with being ill last year, I went into quite a foggy depression, and I really struggled to get back on my feet physically, mentally, emotionally. So I tried to maybe, do something creative. So I found a lady on Instagram that made these rainbows wall hangings, and I emailed her and I told her my story and that I was trying to get back on my feet, and if she could maybe tell me how she made them, because they were really beautiful. And I noticed quite a lot on Instagram that people use these rainbows when they try and do their posts. So I thought it'd be quite nice to make myself one.
Yeah.
So she showed me how to do it, and then I thought, well, try and give something back. So I opened a small shop. I mean, it's nothing special, but it's a small online shop on Instagram, and I sell through there. And I've been very lucky that I've been able to sell some, and through that I thought, well, let's give back again, and I donate some of the money to IVF Babble, which is a social media page that I found about 4 years ago when I was first diagnosed with infertility, and I found them very, very helpful.
Yeah.
So I thought, let's give back to people that give to us. So
it sounds like a really positive source of like catharsism and a way to like help you out of that foggy patch, like that feeling really low. It's a really positive thing to do, giving back to the community and helping yourself in like a really like loving and creative way.
Yeah. It was the only, I couldn't watch television. I could see the television, but I couldn't focus. I just couldn't focus at this point. I think it was the hormones, and I think I'd gone into a sort of depression, and I couldn't focus on anything. But I found with these rainbows, I could, and that's basically how I managed to get back to work and get back to being normal,
Yeah.
whatever normal is.
Well,
So,
I think a rainbow is kind of like a motif of the IVF community as well, isn't it? As well as pineapples, but it's a really
yeah,
like positive, hopeful kind of symbol. So that's a really nice
yeah,
thing to do.
yeah.
So if you don't mind me asking, like you mentioned that you were quite poorly because of IVF. How did you come to find out that you needed IVF?
So I'd gone for a routine appointment at the GP, probably about 6 years ago, and she's just generally just said, "Oh, are you going to try and start a family?"
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, we're trying, but we're not sort of like actively trying," because I just thought the minute we came off contraception, bang, it would happen.
Yeah.
So we just sort of went with the flow. So she said, "We'll give it a few months and see how it goes." So I think I left it about 12 months, went back for something else routine. And she said, "Oh, I see that we'd had this conversation." So she did a blood test and it showed that I didn't ovulate. So I was straight up to our local hospital, to the infertility department, and it all snowballed and roller coasted from there, really.
Yeah, that sounds like, even though that's a really sad and difficult thing to go through, it sounds like your GP was quite proactive in supporting you. Like a lot of the time people have to put up a bit of a fight kind of thing. How did you find that? Like, was it a shock? Like, how did you feel when you first found out?
I was very shocked because I've always suffered with gynae problems since I was about 14. So for me to have gone through the extreme pain and the debilitating effects of periods, I just assumed that I would get pregnant in a shot, because I didn't really think life would be that cruel where it resulted in not being able to get pregnant and end up in that place, really. So I found it, and even now, really sort of quite a few years on, I struggle daily with that, to come to terms with that. I suppose in a way it's like a type of grief that for your body. I don't know if that sounds weird, but I feel as though I want to grieve for what should have been, and maybe if it had been managed a bit differently when I was a teenager, I might have been able to have had tests earlier on to have shown that there was a problem. So in that respect, I found it really difficult, and I do feel like I've just been on this roller coaster of IVF, and I had Clomid first for about 12 months, which, although I ovulated, I never had a positive pregnancy test. So I just feel like it's just been this big journey that I feel as though I've just been swept along really on it. And like I said, I don't feel as though I've actually really come to terms with it, but you've just got to get on with it, don't you, to get that end result. So
I'm sure you've probably validated quite a lot of people's feelings, because I think grief is a common feeling in this experience, and obviously you've felt that anyway, just through hearing that you weren't ovulating and having experienced that kind of having that kind of dream and that idea in your head that it would be easy to conceive taken away from you. But I just think once you get into the cycle of trying to conceive, whether it's naturally or through Clomid or through any sort of treatment, every cycle you can't help but get hopeful. So every month is a loss, even if nothing's happened, because you're losing like a dream.
That's it. And it's nobody, and this is something I feel very, very passionate about. Nobody tells you about this in school. Nobody teaches you about fertility and about trying for a baby. They're very quick to tell you how not to get pregnant and that you shouldn't get pregnant. And you routinely put on the pill as a child. I was put on the pill because I had horrendous periods and I couldn't function as a teenager. I really struggled in school, and I have done for 26 years, really. And I just feel it's all very well telling people not how to do something, but actually we should be educated on how, in the right circumstances, how to, see the signs of infertility, So it's very hard to get pregnant when you look at how you're meant to get pregnant. There's only a small window every month to actually get pregnant for someone, who doesn't have infertility.
Yeah.
So it's 100 times harder for us.
Yeah.
There's not really anybody there guiding us.
I completely agree with you. The education system kind of fails a lot of people. In fact, not every girl and man in the system, because we're made to fear getting pregnant rather than understanding the human body and how it works.
Yeah, yeah.
So like coming down to you explaining about your struggle with your periods and that 26 years you've been going through it, is that a condition you've been diagnosed with? And you can share as much or as little as you like.
No, I've never had when I say professional, I've never had a medical professional diagnose me with endometriosis or polycystic ovaries or anything like that. I've been told I've got a fibroid, but they've never been concerned about that. It's quite far behind my womb, so they don't concern themselves with that. It was only when I started having acupuncture about 18 months ago in preparation for my second IVF cycle that she was the only person I'd ever seen who actually sat down with a pad of paper and asked me what my period was like.
Yeah.
She wanted to know the ins and outs. I won't go into the graphic detail, but she wanted to know everything about it. And she just looked up and she said, "When did you get diagnosed with endometriosis? Are you under treatment?" And I said, I haven't got endometriosis. She said,
"You have."
Pretty sure you have. Pretty sure you have. And then when I started seeing a nutritionist after the second failed IVF cycle, the lady actually asked me again, "What are your periods like?" And I told her, and she said, "Oh, you've got endometriosis." I said, "No." I said, "But you're the second person now in as many months to tell me that." So I think I've got something inside that's not right, but I've never had a test.
It's so sad that there's so many women across the country that do have this problem and experience this pain every month, and still they're not being supported and kind of overlooked, and maybe gynecologists across the country don't know enough about it. I think it's kind of still that kind of mysterious kind of condition.
Yeah, I mean, I was told when I was 14, when in the end it was getting to the point where I wasn't able to go to school, I was continually fainting in school, I was being sick in school. Sorry to be graphic, but I had very, very severe diarrhea, which in high school is just unbearable. Horrendous. It was just, and it was crippling me of my anxiety. The thought of having this awful pain and being ill in front of people. And as soon as I started fainting in school, my mum was like, "This is just not normal. We need to get you sorted." So I went to the GP and she spoke to me and explained, and she just said, "Welcome to being a woman, and I can help you, and here's the pill." My mum was mortified because I was only 40. She's like, "What?" But she said it will help with your period symptoms, which of course it did, but it just masked a huge problem. And with that's led to, I had a 6-year period where I had severe pain down below. I couldn't be intimate with my husband, and that went on for 6 years. And they eventually, I saw a GP who had a specialist interest in gynae, and she said, "You've been on that pill far too long. You need to come off it." But you just go every 6 months to get your blood pressure checked and get your next prescription, because that's what you're told. And I was told it's just being a woman, so I didn't know that what my pain was is completely not normal, and what I was what was withdrawing from my body every month was far from normal. And it wasn't until I started seeing my acupuncturist, she couldn't believe it.
It's horrific. It's really sad. I'm so sorry that you've been on such a journey, because it's really hard to go through all that. I wonder, were your school supportive, like of you having to have time off? Because I think that whole cycle of not like fertility being an issue in schools and not being talked about, and then obviously gynecologists not really knowing and GPs not knowing about periods. Was school the same, or were they understanding?
I don't really remember, to be honest. I think because I was a good student and I didn't you know, if I wasn't in school, I would have been ill. I wouldn't, you know, I wasn't one for sort of playing
Faking,
truant
yeah.
anything. So I don't think that really flagged. And my mum didn't really let it progress where I was having a lot of time off. But once I was starting to faint and it was getting more severe, that was when she took me to the GP. And again, it would only really last a couple of days. It was like the first 3 days of my period, and then I could cope again. So, you know, I wasn't off for massive periods of time, but I was off frequently, sort of every, you know, a couple of days a month. I just really struggled. I couldn't really function.
Yeah, sounds like a lot. So following your 12 months of Clomid, you went on to have IVF. Was that like NHS funded? Were you lucky in that sense?
So we're lucky. We've got a good CCG, and they have good fertility funding here.
Yeah.
So I was sent up to our local hospital for the Clomid, and then I was referred to Chester Clinic, and we started that cycle. But I put IVF off for quite a while. My husband's mum wasn't very well, and I just didn't think we needed the added stress and pressure.
Yeah.
And I was following a celebrity at the time because she was having IVF, and her journey completely terrified me and put me off, and it took me a long time. And my best friend actually always comments, "Should you come so far, Sarah?" Because I remember going for a walk and we sobbed, and you know, you said, "I can't do it. I'm too frightened. I'm not strong enough. It's going to ruin our marriage." And you know, I think IVF gets quite a lot of bad press and negative press.
Yeah.
So I put it off. I thought, well, I'm blessed with such a beautiful husband. You know, a baby would have added to our family. I don't want to destroy something that's perfect, you know. So I put it off for a while, and then I took a leap of faith, and I have to say I found IVF quite easy physically. I think the actual added hormones probably helped me, and I didn't find it painful. The clinic was really good, and although it didn't result in a pregnancy. I lost my embryo quite early on, but it in as much as a positive way can be, it was a positive. You know, I didn't have any horrendous side effects.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really positive thing then, isn't it? Because like you say, it does get a bad rep, and it can be really difficult. You said you're quite poorly following your IVF. Is that like physically as well, or was that just because it didn't work out?
So I
don't mean just.
No, I know. So I had my first IVF in June 2020, so just right in the middle of the pandemic, the first lockdown. And when we went back to the clinic, the consultant said, "Look, I think we should start trying straight away. You know, let's not beat around the bush." I think obviously because my age isn't on our side, I would have been 38 at the time. So we started again, and we tried a different drug. And again, I flew through that, but we got to the last scan before egg retrieval, and I hadn't stimulated. And although it was an unlicensed dose, I was on the highest dose they could give me, I just didn't stimulate. And then I didn't actually bleed for about 55, 56 days.
Wow.
And then I just started a period, and it just didn't stop for 3 months. We just couldn't control the bleeding. And I think with the drop of hormones, the loss of blood, that I think that's where the crash came.
Yeah, that sounds.
It just affected me in every aspect.
Yeah, that sounds such an ordeal, both physically and emotionally, like in so many ways. Like you're such a strong person to go through all that and talk about it, and you know, keep going with all the work that you're doing on your Instagram page, and to keep sharing and talking to people in the community. It's a really honourable and kind thing to do.
Thank you.
Do you have more chances on your NHS rounds, or are they kind of?
No, so we've used all our NHS funding now. There was a bit of a mix up with the third cycle, because I didn't go to egg retrieval I didn't have the sedation and the operation, they don't class that as a cycle. So I was able to have a third one, which I had last year, which was funded.
Yeah.
And then I had an eggless egg collection, which was really hard.
Yeah.
And because I'd been given a lot of like testosterone treatment to try and up my AMH,
Yeah.
which it doubled. But obviously it didn't result in any egg retrieval.
Yeah.
Because we'd sort of been mistreatment planned a little. When we sort of asked questions, they said, well, they will fund another bog standard IVF to make up for the treatment that we'd been promised, but we couldn't have on the third cycle. So we've got some funding, but they won't do IVF with me again. Our only option is an egg donor.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Like, I'm really sure that however it comes to pass, like, everything will be right for you and you'll feel really positive. Like, it's amazing that you're doing so much wonderful stuff for the community. What I was going to say is, obviously with your Instagram, the amazing shop that you've got on there to do your rainbow kind of keepsakes display, lovely little rainbows, they're for sale. And you do, like you said, you donate money to IVF Babel to support them. You've also got an event coming up. Do you want to just tell us quickly a little bit about that before we go?
Yeah, so I turned 40 in January and I was going to have a party.
Yay, well done.
I thought none of us have had a party for years, and let's try and come out of this pandemic, positive, and let's have a party. And then obviously once we came out of Christmas, it didn't really feel appropriate. The numbers had risen, so I cancelled it, and I really wanted to do something this year. And I thought, instead of celebrating a birthday, it's a number. I thought, let's try and have a charity event and try and raise some money for this charity and try and help as many women as we possibly can. Because I think for me, with my journey, if I could help one woman or young girl not go through the pain, suffering, the trauma and the journey that I've had to go on, and women my age and our generation, then I don't feel as though my journey's not been for anything. And I just, if I had all the money in the world and I could, campaign and go into schools and talk to girls and support them and help them, and I would, because I just didn't want my journey to be for nothing and it to be a negative thing. And I do feel as though things are sent to us, and I do believe something good will come out of this in the end for me. But if I can prevent a lady going through what I went through and maybe getting treatment sooner, or not having to go through the pain that I did growing up, then I feel as though that's a positive thing to have come out of it.
Absolutely. You're a real champion. It's amazing that you're doing so much for so many other people, like, especially when you've been through so much. It's been really lovely to talk to you, Sarah. And on our Instagram and in this kind of podcast link, we'll share a little link maybe to the tickets for that event.
Yeah, because it's fabulous. Yeah, everyone's welcome.
Yeah, coming up at the end of April, isn't it? And
it is, the 23rd of April. We've got fabulous live music. My nephew's a musician, so he's playing. We've got a disco, lovely food, amazing raffles. We've got some really amazing local small businesses that have come together and donated some fantastic prizes, which I feel really blessed for, because obviously I don't think there's many infertility charities, but actually a lot of people that I've reached out to with regards to raffle prizes, they either know somebody or they've been through it, or they're going through it, and unfortunately it's a lot more common than maybe it's discussed in the media and talked about within friendship groups. And so even just that in itself to get that word out is going to be positive. So
yeah, definitely, it sounds amazing, absolutely amazing. And like you said, just getting it spoken about and less taboo and more common knowledge, the better. So you're doing such wonderful work, and I really am grateful that you're in this community and you're doing what you're doing, because there's so many people who are and will benefit from it in the future. So well done.
Oh, thank you. Thanks, Becky.
It's been really lovely to talk to you. So thank you so much for coming on, and I hope to see you at the event coming up.
Oh, yeah, that'll be perfect.
Yeah, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Take care.
Bye. So thank you again to Sarah for coming on to the show and sharing her experiences with us. It was really interesting talking to her, because it's a completely different journey to anything we've experienced, and really nice because
it's kind of like half in and half out, and it's like she's got a pretty good indication that something wasn't right, but never fully diagnosed, which is kind of
I feel like
weird.
she's been let down in a way by the NHS, as much as I love it.
But they haven't diagnosed her with it now, though.
Yeah, she's still undiagnosed, and I think that's the case
I wanted to ask her that. Maybe we can text her or whatever afterwards. Can you message her now?
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I wanted to ask, if you message her and she replies, then we can put it in. If she doesn't, then it doesn't matter. But I wanted to ask, like, since she had those issues overall with it, has anyone actually, even now after the IVF rounds that they've had, like, kind of noted on a record, or like even said that, like, you have some kind of, endometriosis? Yeah. Has she? Because for the things that happened, that not to produce eggs or whatever, that has to be from something, right?
I'm not sure. I think that's where it comes down to unexplained infertility. So sometimes they just don't
all
have
the
an
symptoms
answer.
from the earlier stuff.
Yeah.
Sure. Like I'm surprised.
Endometriosis definitely makes it difficult to conceive, but I don't think it's not a certainty that you don't ovulate from it.
No, but is it like, if it was me, I'd really want to know if I've had it.
Yeah.
Just to know.
Yeah.
So
it'd be interesting for us to seek out a gynecologist or a specialist who knows about endometriosis.
If anyone knows of one, or you are one,
so that we can
maybe
quiz them a little bit.
Yeah, like, or just drop us a message on Insta or YouTube,
and
whatever.
ask them why on earth it is that so many people across the UK aren't diagnosed and suffer for a long time. And just get put on the pill. And that was what was really difficult.
That's changing now, though. It'll take like 10 years or 15 years
longer,
for it to
maybe.
change.
Yeah, but the amazing thing is that Sarah is so, strong and like just amazing for doing what she does in the community and supporting other people. Like, what a woman.
We didn't probe too much. Well, I didn't. I was literally doing technical stuff, just making sure everything went going. But from the sounds of it, she said she didn't dwell on it too. Like, she didn't sort of go into it too much. But she said she was really low and really bad. But just that, they're just words. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the actual experience of that is probably
really difficult time.
A lot worse. That you can say, "Oh, I was really down for a year or two," and that doesn't do any justice to it. Yeah,
it's really, and I think it's eye-opening. I mean, I've been through really dark times as well, but I don't think I've ever had to deal with as much as Sarah has, and it really, hopefully, will open up lots of people's experiences and understanding of IVF and infertility and what it can do to you mentally and emotionally and
she's
physically.
Done something positive with it as well, because there's only so much, like,
what a hero, just to put herself.
But it's also good for her, because being negative all the time is like just not healthy at all.
Amazing. And even that event that she's got coming up,
I know nothing about that.
So Sarah's got an event coming up on Wirral. If anybody up there wants to go to it, it's at the end of April. I'll share the link and the details to that too. So that, she explained, was as a celebration instead of her 40th birthday, which she wanted to kind of celebrate in the beginning of the year. She's decided to put on a charity event for IVF Babel to raise money for the community and give a bit back, which is amazing. So there's going to be live music, food, all that sort of thing, which I just think is So it's a lot of hard work to put on a big event like that.
And I'm trying to be careful. Well, I don't need to be careful, but she's not there yet with her journey, and she's going to be surrounded by loads of people that have been.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to be mindful of myself, but at the same time, like, fuck it, like, we're in a good place at the moment, so I'm going to enjoy it, because we've had such a long time.
It takes so much strength, and she's so noble in just supporting so many people through it. And just what she said, like echoing what she said, Sarah hopes that if, like, she doesn't have the outcome she wants or hoped for, that the one thing she hopes comes out of her experience is that someone else doesn't go through it. So all of that raising money and awareness is really, like she doing a lot of good.
Like you said before, like, she's not completely happy with, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but from what I kind of got from the last bit is that she wasn't totally cool with, like, what they've got to do egg donor wise and stuff, which is fine. But then I think she's been quite smart about it, because she's like, but at the same time, we can't mess around, we got to get going. And I didn't ask because I wasn't on a mic, but I kind of wanted to say, do you feel like when you're at the end, baby's here, that it might change? And I got a feeling that it will.
Yeah, like, I think there's lots of people
you feel one way before, and then after you're like, fuck it, this is fine. Yeah, definitely.
I think it's definitely difficult to come to terms with the fact that your dream.
She's pragmatic about it though. She's like, I know this is how I feel now, but I can't mess around. We just got to get on with it, which is a good attitude to have. Yeah. Because sometimes you're gonna have to deal with stuff that you don't really 100% agree with.
Yeah.
So it was good to have her on. So any other exciting news?
No other news really. I'm going to keep on looking for guests, and we wish Sarah and her husband all the hope and luck for the next part of their journey, whatever the outcome is. But yeah, for the next episode, I guess we might tell you we've got a midwife appointment coming up. I think I've told you a little bit more about the extra scans that I have to have, so we'll talk about them, and
maybe some of the baby stuff, like actual, like, oh dear, we better get stuff sorted because we've got a baby coming. Not in a bad way.
But I did look on the app the other day, and I'm more pregnant than I am not pregnant, if that makes sense. So it's like 40 weeks gestation, and I'm over halfway. So it's less time now until we see the baby than it is that we've waited to see.
That is mad, because it doesn't feel like that long ago it
like
happened.
18, 17
That's the thing about
weeks.
IVF. It's waiting, then gone.
Yeah. And everyone keeps on saying, wow, it's going so fast. You know, considering lots of our close friends and family knew from the beginning, it has gone really quickly. So,
And we announced our pregnancy to everyone we know via the podcast episode. And because of social media and YouTube and everything like that, you need to leave a little bit of mystery. That's just the way it is. You know how it is. Don't judge us. So we did that, and then obviously people listened and listened to it, and then commented on the video where it was posted. So I think we're probably going to do the obligatory, I hope that's the right word, obligatory, like scan picture thing. People that don't give a shit about the podcast will know as well, because otherwise you'd go, oh, what's this random video of Becky doing?
Yeah. So, but we have got a little clip that shows that we're pregnant as well, that you shared on your Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. Thanks, Cokes. Thanks for ruining the sound for us for your little kitten pause.
Coco's just really impatient because she wants to go for a walk.
So annoying. Anyway, back to fixing everything that is broken.
Yeah.
House.
Back to walking the dog. I think she's telling us that this is the episode over and done with. Tip tap, let's go.
Make sure you follow us wherever you do, and like us and engage with us. Tell us what you like, tell us what you don't like, and leave a comment on the YouTube channel, and it helps us.
If any of the issues that we talked about today, like egg donation, endometriosis, unexplained infertility, chronic debilitating periods, if any of that has affected you before, then feel free to start a conversation about it, because it's important that everyone talks about it more. Yeah. So have a lovely day. We'll see you soon.
Bye bye.